Hey everyone, it's Kappy. Welcome to a special episode of Beyond the Plate. When thinking about the culinary world, it's incredible to see how food can connect people across different industries, backgrounds, and even continents. And quite frankly, it's one of the main reasons we started Beyond the Plate in the first place. Today's episode captures this spirit perfectly. I had the honor of moderating a panel at the Social Innovation Summit. And to quote the summit, it's a place where extraordinary leaders meet to establish inspired partnerships that are disrupting social impact. The folks on this panel spark change in the food industry, they promote sustainability, and they generate purpose-driven goals. Today, we're sharing a slice of the conversation, and whether you're a chef or you're simply curious about how food can drive meaningful change, I think you'll find this episode of Beyond the Plate inspiring and encouraging. I can honestly say, I'm hopeful we can create a brighter future for communities everywhere. And we'll be back next week with our regularly scheduled programming. Without further ado, please enjoy this episode as we go Beyond the Plate with Chef Eric Repaire, Claire Babino-Fontenot, and Thomas Jonas, direct from the 2024 Social Innovation Summit.
In the spirit of honesty, transparency, and brevity, our three panels today have bios on your app. So I'm going to try and keep this bio section to about 1 minute, and hopefully you don't have to hear from me again. First up, Claire Babino-Fontenot has served as Chief Executive Officer of Feeding America, a network of food banks, food pantries, meal programs, and the largest charity in the United States. She's a leader and advocate dedicated to combating hunger. Absolutely. Dedicated to combating hunger and strengthening communities. She has an unwavering commitment to working alongside people experiencing food insecurity to create sustainable and equitable solutions in the movement to end hunger. Prior to joining Feeding America, Claire spent 13 years on Walmart's leadership team, most recently as Executive Vice President and Global Treasurer, where she led teams across 28 countries. Claire was named one of Time 100's most influential people of 2020. No big deal. Next up, Thomas Jonas is co-founder and CEO of Nature's Find, a groundbreaking food tech company born out of NASA-supported research from Yellowstone National Park. Where's that Yellowstone team from earlier? Right there, yeah, I love that. The company's fermentation technology produces a sustainable source of complete protein using only a fraction of the resources required by traditional agriculture. Thomas believes in asking the big questions, but also in finding new and different solutions. When others often ask why, Thomas's curiosity drives him to ask, why not? And what if? Why not use the nutritional power of fungi-based protein called phi to positively impact the environment and disrupt the food industry? What if phi could feed people today and for generations to come? Speaking of Nature's Find, we've got Chef Eric Repaire. He's a culinary advisor working with Thomas. He's best known as the chef and co-owner of the acclaimed 3 Michelin-starred restaurant in New York, Le Bernardin. Sorry for the pronunciation, Chef and Thomas. He's one of New York's and the world's great chefs. Le Bernardin earned La Liste's #1 restaurant in the world in 2023, World's 50 Best Restaurants list, and 3 Michelin stars in the Michelin Guide from 2005 on. Chef Repaire is vice chairman of the board of City Harvest, one of New York City's largest food rescue organizations, working to bring together New York's top chefs and restaurateurs to raise funds and increase the quality and quantity of food donations to New York's neediest. By now, it is clear to you all, and I can confidently say you're in the presence of 3 extraordinary people who have, are, and will continue to change the world. Claire, we're in an elevator going up to the 103rd floor of the Willis Tower. 45 seconds up, I'll give you 45 seconds down. So in 90 seconds, I've got $100 million in my pocket. When speaking to partners and donors, what's your elevator pitch? Or why I should give you, or Feeding America, my $100 million?
That's a great question. Let's start with, who do you want to be in the world? What do you care about? Do you want communities to thrive? If you do, then I have an opportunity for you. You can invest in work that is so foundational to every single positive thing that happens for human beings. You can be a part of ensuring not only that people get access to the nutrition that they need, but also that those who need it the most get the most. Don't you want to be a part of that? I hope so.
Sold.
Yay.
Thomas, we just pulled into Yellowstone National Park to go on a lovely afternoon hike. I want to find that microbe known as phi. In 90 seconds, can you tell me what is nature's find and how it's changing the world?
Well, first, dodge the bison. So nature's find, as you mentioned, started as a research project for NASA. And the goal of that research was to try to figure out if NASA was sending a probe to a moon of Saturn, how would you look for life on a moon of Saturn? How do you look for life at the bottom of the methane lake on Titan or in the geyser of Enceladus? We don't know, and we don't know what sort of life could be organized there because it's a very different environment. So we went to a very different environment, and those are the volcanic acidic springs of Yellowstone. And what we discovered in these environments where there is really very few things that can live, we discovered an environment in which nature had to do more with less, had to survive using a fraction of the resources. And what is the goal of our generation if it's not to do more with less? What's the goal of our generation if it's not to be able to live the best life we can with fewer resources and being frugal? And this is exactly what nature is doing in the volcanic spring, because the volcanic springs is not a place for you and me. So we took a page from that playbook and we developed a technology that enabled us to grow this microbe that we discovered there, which is a fantastic protein. And we can do that using 99% less water, 99% less land, and we emit 94% less greenhouse gas than a cow would. And we do that here in Chicago, on the south side of Chicago. Anybody from the south side of Chicago here? I thought so. That's what we do.
I love it. Incredible, incredible stuff. Chef Repair, we find ourselves on the corner of 50th Street and 6th Avenue in New York City. We're walking north and then west to your restaurant. We're not stopping for a hot dog, or at least I'm not going to stop for a hot dog, or street meat on the corner. Please tell us how Le Bernardin has been so incredibly successful for over 30 years as one of the world's best restaurants. And for sake of fairness, let's stick with the 90-second plan.
Thank you very much for your compliments. So Le Bernardin opened in 1972 in Paris and moved to New York in 1986. And it was the first time that a seafood restaurant was luxurious at the level of Le Bernardin. The secret, I mean, it's not really a secret, but what you need to do if you want to be consistent and if you want to be successful delivering high quality service, high quality experience, great food, obviously, since we are a restaurant, it's to create a team that is loyal, that understands the vision, that takes responsibilities, and that is well taken care of. So Le Bernardin, we are a single restaurant with 175 employees. We take care of our 175 employees, starting by feeding them good food, which in a restaurant industry, it's kind of rare, actually, believe it or not. But not only that, of course, we offer benefits and a lot of, good salaries, obviously, good compensations for the nature of the job that the team does. But the secret is really to have that team. I couldn't be here on this seat and speak to you and have great quality at Le Bernardin. I didn't receive any complaint yet from lunch.
Yelp review.
So the team is the secret.
Yeah, I love that. Claire, what does success look like for Feeding America?
You know, I'd like to unpack that by first saying who the arbiter would be. The arbiter of success for Feeding America would be people experiencing hunger, people experiencing food insecurity. So in order to be able to think about where it is that we ought to lean in and how we might be helpful, we've gone to them and we've asked them, what is it that you need and want? What would best position you to thrive? And they've responded, I think, in clear, actionable ways. And their responses form our vision, our North Star. It's formed by what they've said. And they've told us that, as would be true for any person, that they have an aspiration to ensure that they receive dignified service. Of course, they need access to food. They also want us to be focused on the nutritional density of the food that they get access to. One of the things I often say, because I really think sometimes we get it a little bit twisted, is people experiencing hunger don't need us to tell them the difference between a head of lettuce and a Snicker bar, but only one of them is probably accessible to them, and only one of them will give them the energy they need, at least in a burst, to get through that morning. So they said they care about their own health, and they want those who would endeavor to partner with them to focus in on healthy outcomes for them. And finally, they talk about opportunity, and they speak to the fact that food insecurity does not happen in a vacuum. It is a symptom of poverty, and that you will not not solve hunger without addressing some of those systemic barriers that people confront.
Thomas, how does a company like Nature's Fine scale while expanding reach?
Well, when you think about scaling, it means really starting small and getting bigger, right? At the heart of our technology is this microbe. And what we did in Yellowstone is we took a tiny little sample, a tiny little sample. And we never have to go back over there. The scale up is the magical of multiplying by 2. So hear me out for 1 second. When you think about the cow, from 1 cow to get 2 cows, it takes roughly 2 years, right? 2 babies, takes 18 months to 2 years. For a microbe, you're talking about a matter of minutes, hours, which means you can do 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 very, very fast. And that enables us, as I mentioned earlier, here in Chicago, to scale up from this tiny little bit incredibly fast. So we use fermentation processes that we develop, and that's the basis of our technology. Now, it's a little bit like your grandmother's sourdough, right? You can double and you can get into very, very big numbers and a lot of protein, and again, very, very efficiently. And for us, the next step, to continue that process, do more of it in various places. Our technology enables us to create that protein anywhere in the world. We actually cultivate our protein even in the International Space Station. Now, how far is that? How much of a dream is this? This is not science fiction. This is science. And we're actually today in about 1,000 stores in the US. We are in all Whole Foods. Our yogurts, please go and try them. Our yogurts, our breakfast patties, which is the meat alternative, or our cream cheese are in stores across the country. And we're growing. So we'll continue to grow. And our goal is to be able to take the cost of this protein as low as we can as we scale up, which really enables us to feed as many people as we can.
Chef, I know we shared a little about your value of social responsibility and sustainability and whatnot, given your work with City Harvest and everything. Can you share an example of how you prioritize these things in general in the restaurant, in the kitchen?
Sure. So when we speak about sustainability, we work with small farmers that are local. We purchase seafood from small fishermen, not from factory boats. And again, very often it's very local along the East Coast. Then the work of City Harvest is something that we really, really care for. City Harvest is an organization in New York City that rescue food from restaurants and from companies, supermarkets, and we get food from you as well. Thank you very much, by the way. But that food that will go to waste is being redistributed to 400 shelters throughout the city. We have also some mobile markets that allow people to shop for vegetables and fruit for free and go home and cook and the family gathering together. So that work with City Harvest is very important, and we make sure that we are bringing visibility for them. We are supporting them financially, we're supporting them with leftover food, with a lot of things. And it's important because in New York City, 1.5 million people live under poverty level. So we're talking about 1 child out of 4 who doesn't know when he's going to get his meal, when the school doesn't provide the meal. So it's a must to gather the industry together and to the restaurant industry together and everybody who can support the organization to make a difference.
We're at time, but just to put really quick, to put that into perspective, like the 1 in 4 thing, that's like families that literally don't know where their next meal may come from. Like they have to decide, are they going to pay their electric bill or buy food for their family? Or they open the refrigerator and there's nothing there, perhaps. And then you have like someone like this who is putting out 3 Michelin-star meals that is dedicating countless time, hours, his voice to this cause, and it's incredible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. What gives you hope?
What do I hope?
Yeah, what gives you hope for the future?
The next generation gives me a lot of hopes when I see how smart they are and how committed they are and how sensitive they are to the sustainability, the environment, and to tackle all the challenges that we have created.
Love that. Claire, what excites you at the intersection of food and social impact?
So many things. Among them, I would say, is that food and the work that I do is so foundational that there's so many positive intersectionalities. Like, for instance, what you were just describing, City Harvest, I'm very proud to say, is a member of the Feeding America Network. They rescue food. Well, I don't know if this group would know that the largest food rescue organization in the United States would be the Feeding America Network. And because of the work that we do together, we avert 15.2 billion pounds of greenhouse gases don't go into the atmosphere because of the work that we do. So I'm hopeful about people getting to understand better whom it is that we are, what the impact is that we can make, and more people signing up to partner with us. And I'm seeing that happen by having an opportunity to be on a stage like this one. So I'm inspired by that.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for tuning in to this special episode. To learn more about the Social Innovation Summit, go to socialinnovation.com. Follow them on social media at Soc Innovation. That's SOCINNOVATION. And don't forget, we'll be back next week with an episode of Beyond the Drink. This episode was produced by myself, along with Ian Cohen, Joel Yetton, and Sean Petrosian. Our digital media producer is Sarah McClellan-Mead. Our music has been composed by Goldford. Find him at iGoldford. As always, special shout out to my wife, Katie. If you have not started following me yet, you should. Find me across all social media at On Kappy's Plate, or go to BeyondThePlatePodcast.com and keep up to date with Beyond the Plate. Beyond the Plate is also on social at BT Plate Podcast. If you have a moment, we'd be grateful of your support by rating, reviewing, and even hitting that subscribe button to the podcast. Don't forget to join us next Wednesday for an episode of Beyond the Drink, our companion podcast to Beyond the Plate, brought to you by our friends at Ford's Gym. Thank you for listening to Beyond the Plate. I'm Kappy, and remember, there are never too many cooks in the kitchen.